After the riot in Ephesus, Paul travels to Macedonia again. Wherever he goes in that area, he encourages the Christians in each place he visits and tells people about Jesus. Finally, he arrives in Greece. After 3 months, Paul makes preparations to sail back to Syria. When he discovers a plot by some Jews against his life, he decides not to sail straight to Syria, but to return through Macedonia. Several men from different places where Paul has been in the past are traveling with him. They go on ahead and wait for Paul at Troas. Paul stays behind in Philippi during the time the festival of the unleavened bread is celebrated. We call that festival also the Passover. The Jews remember during this festival how the Lord delivered them from slavery in Egypt and brought them in the promised land. This festival pointed to Jesus. Christians celebrate how Jesus freed them from the bondage of sins and will bring them to heaven. Is this something you celebrate as well? After the festival, Paul boards a ship heading for Troas. After a 5-day trip, Paul joins the other men in Troas, where they stay for a week. On the first day of the week, Paul gathers with the local believers in an upstairs room to share in breaking bread together. Paul speaks to the believers and, because he intends to leave the next day, keeps on talking until midnight. That is not a problem. There are many lamps in the room. When Paul speaks on and on, a young man named Eutychus, sitting on the windowsill, becomes very drowsy. He sinks into a deep sleep. Oh, but then, look, when he is sound asleep, he falls out the window to the ground, all the way down from the 3rd story. The people in the room are shocked. Some go down quickly. Eutychus is picked up dead. How sad is this? Paul also goes down. He throws himself on Eutychus and puts his arms around him. Then he says to the people around him, "Don't worry, he is alive." What a miracle the Lord is doing! Do you see, God is almighty and nothing is impossible for him? Eutychus is alive again. What a joy! Everyone goes upstairs again. After Paul has broken bread and eaten, he continues talking until daylight. Then he leaves for a long trip. He is in a hurry to reach Jerusalem, if possible, by the day of Pentecost. Also the believers leave the upstairs room and go home. Do you see Eutychus walking with them? No one will ever forget what has happened that night. The people are greatly comforted.